Hi friends, thanks for watching. I'm just doing a little piece about refusing illegal government procedures. And so apparently the census, which is questionable, it's supposed to be once every 10 years. And for some reason, I just moved into a place and within a month, I got this summons to do a census. And what's weird is um, last month, I was summoned to jury duty, like the second of the year. So it was just weird. I just felt like I was kind of on the government's target for some reason. So I did some research and I learned that there's a clause in the Constitution and there's Supreme Court rulings that exist to protect our privacy, our right from being from invasion of government bodies. So I just wanted to share this. So this is kind of like a template one could use, and you could just look it up online, but for those who might be interested, this is what it reads. To whom it may concern, pursuant to Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3 of the Constitution, the only information you, the census, are empowered to request is the total number of occupants at this address. And I would even say, like, instead of saying my, I would say the person I'm representing, because you probably know that who you are as a living soul, spiritually alive being is different than the corporation that this census request is written to, because every person's all capitals name. It's a corporation, just like a business corporation. It's kind of like a doing business as, and no, we haven't been told this, but that's just how it is. That's why whenever you get government documentation or legal documentation, it's always in this all capitals corporate commercial business format. So anyways, I would say instead of I would say person I'm representing demographics such as their name, sex, age, date of birth, race, ethnicity, telephone number, relationship, marital status, housing, tenure. I would say is absolutely outside of apportioning direct taxes or determining the number of representatives in the House of Representatives. Therefore, Congress and the Census Bureau lack the constitutional authority to make that information request a component of the enumeration outlined in Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3. In addition, the person I represent is protected from being subject to a fine basing her conduct or his conduct on the Constitution, because the Constitution trumps laws based on Congress, or passed by Congress, pardon me. Interstate Commerce Commission versus Brimson 154 US 447, 429, May 26, 1894. Neither branch of the legislative department, House of Representatives, or Senate, still less any merely administrative body, such as the Census Bureau, established by Congress, possesses or can be invested with a general power of making inquiry into the private affairs of the citizen. Kilbourne versus Thompson, 103 U.S. 168190. We set in void versus the U.S. 116 U.S. 616630 Supreme Court 524, and it can bear repeating that the principles that embody the essence of constitutional liberty and security forbid all invasions on the part of the government and its employees of the sanctity of a man's home and the privacies of his life, as said by Mr. Justice Field in the Pacific Rye Commission 32, Federal 241-250, of all the rights of the citizen, few are of greater importance or more essential to his peace and happiness than the right of personal security, and that involves not merely protection of his person from assault, but exemption from his private affairs, books, and papers from inspection and scrutiny of others. Without the enjoyment of this right, all others would lose half of their value. Sorry, my voice is getting hoarse. It's due to thyroid issues. Anyway, so I'm submitting this to the Census Bureau. And I'm also going to know that so there's additional rights that we have, or legislation or whatever. So I'm also saying that should the Census Bureau attempt to violate rights, they need to complete paperwork about make note to all public officials. So this is called a Public Servant Questionnaire, and the Authority Privacy Act 5 U.S.C. Secure SCC 553A Stat 1896, 1974. Pursuant to the Privacy Act of 1974, full written disclosure is mandatory for any government official or public servant who is seeking any information before any personal or private, not public information will be provided in any form. So I know that maybe I read that weird, but it's basically that there's like the public servant has to do full disclosure and before they provide information. So I'm sending them this request that they fill out the public servant's full legal name, resident address, name of the agency, supervisor, the addresses, and question: will the public servant uphold the Constitution? Yes or no? What's their state ID number, badge number, bonding ID, bonding agency number, and bond number? I'm asking, will the public servant furnish a copy of the law that authorizes the request? Will they read aloud the law authorizing the request? I will ask, are answers to the questions voluntary or mandatory? Are questions based on a specific law, or are they a discovery process? What other uses may be used with my census information? Because the census was what they used to put the Japanese people in the concentration camps. What other agencies will have access to this information, the census? What will be the effect upon me if any or all questions are not answered? Have you consulted, questioned, interviewed, or received information from any third party, other agency, or government source related to this matter? And if so, enter name of all parties. And there might be more to this, but that just gave you an idea, and you can look that up. It should be online. And so when the census comes out, it says it's required by law. And so then you're like, well, so if it's law, then anything that's outside of the law is criminal. So what are the classifications of crimes? So classification of crime is trespass upon private property, damage to private property, or damage to property and injury to people. So by following the law, like the census is, I haven't trespassed, damaged anything, or injured any person. This is data collection that is not. I've never been asked for a census that I can recall, and it's mid-decade, and it seems to me we're living in a toxic, like satanic ritual abuse world right now. So to me, it's healthy boundaries to represent the voice of the people, which is the voice of God, really. Like when we speak up, we are actually the voice of God, and whoever is, the principalities that we're fighting, the evil that we're fighting, like if we just are compliant and complacent, we're not representing the voice of God. So that's what I'm doing here. And So I'm just going to send this in, and I'm going to send back their envelope full of all the questions. And I'm going to also make sure to document, like I'm going to get I forget all the little, the certification to make sure that I get the notice they have received the document. So I'm just going to pay that extra, whatever, $10 to make back up that they have received my notice, and we'll go from there. So this is kind of exciting. I think it's really healthy for us spiritually, psychologically, to remind the government of what's legal, lawful. And the thing is, you hear about this all the time where, a medical procedure or a corporate process goes awry because nobody said anything, because nobody wanted to hurt anybody's feelings. And, I've just been kind of reached my limit, and this seems like an important thing to do. So thank you for watching, and please take a look at this information, and feel free to share and like and tell me about your experiences with this kind of thing. Thank you.